What's up, everybody? Saturday here. I'm going to do a little market recap for you guys on Friday. So just give me a second. I'm going to share that we're live. We'll see if anybody wants to learn today or if they're all chilling out, enjoying this nice, lovely day. So give me 1 second. I'll be with you guys in a moment. Be with you guys 1 moment, just sharing on social media. All right. So, what's up, everybody? How's it going? If you guys see my screen here, you can see, if you're new, how easy it is just to toggle between our trade rooms. Obviously, we have our day trade, swing trade, futures room. It's Saturday, and it's nice to see that there's still people in the trade rooms talking, right? Great place to learn, connect with everybody. Some people like social media, some people don't. So there's people talking in here throughout the weekend. So, Chris, I'm going to start with answering your question here. Let me see if I can understand it here. What's up, Chris? All right, when you do a video, okay, you navigate the charts so well, and they pop up right at the stock where it is. When I, on the other hand, open a stock, I have to auto-zoom, then use the pointer to widen it, then finger to stretch it. I don't get how your charts come up perfectly and you navigate so fast. All right, let's see if I could try to attempt to answer this for you guys or for Chris. And then I'll go over the markets and trade alert. So here's my screen and how I have it set up over here, right? You can set up your screen however you like it. This is how I personally like my screens. When you get your Thinkorswim platform set up like this, obviously, you're going to go into your filter studies over here, kind of edit, get your studies how you like them. Then you press apply, OK. And then you can go up here to studies and click save study set. And then you can kind of name it whatever you would like, right? So these are just for your filter studies. This is for like moving average lines, stuff like that, right? But that's only going to save your studies. If you want to save your entire desktop layout so it's like this all the time, so as you can see, I'm over here on this one right here, but I could go over to just some other random one right here, right? You'll see this one's different. I could go down over here, and you'll see this one is different, right? And then I'll go back to where I just was over here, and now I'm back over here, right? So this is back to my original one. The reason why they all stay the same like this and don't change is whenever you get your layout exactly the way you like it within Thinkorswim, go up to these rectangular box area up here, click on it, and then you click on Save Grid As, and then you name it and click Save. So now your desktop is the way you want it, right? Your charts are set up. Again, if you're new following me here, very quickly, I'll show you over here. We have a free Thinkorswim course. We basically teach you how to set up Thinkorswim and how we get our platform set up this way. You could click here, take our course, and then also too under members only videos. If you're a member, you will see that Dan and I have our layouts right here. So if you copy this link right here, you'll see Dan's link and you'll see mine over here. If you highlight it, copy it, and then go over into Think or Swim and go to, I think it's Setup and Open Shared Item, paste the link in here, and then you should be able to import it and have our layout, right? So that's as far as the layout goes. Now, as far as how I navigate it goes, there's some people that click on the screen. Let's go over to futures. There's some people that zoom in on the screen like this, right? That drives me nuts. I've still never really figured out how to do it that way, and I don't like it. I'm old school, and I like a mouse. So, like, I forget even how you zoom back out. Let me see. Is it? I'm not sure how you. Is that how you do it? Let me see. So you click on the screen, you zoom in like this, and then you right-click, auto zoom back out. So there's some people that like to do it that way. Me, on the other hand, I like to use a mouse. So you'll see how I can zoom in really quickly, right? In and out like this. See how I go over to my charts, zoom in, out, like this very quickly. All I do is I have my keyboard, I press Control, and then I have a mouse that has a scroll, you know, that scroll thing on the top, and I just move it up to zoom in, move it back to scroll out, move up to move in, to scroll in, move back to zoom out. Chris, does that answer your question? Hopefully that helps you. Let me see. I don't know if you're on YouTube or if you're in the trade room. Let's see if that works. Chris, before I move on, just let me know if that helps you. I'm just trying to see if this answers your question. I'm going to move along right now. I'll go and do the recap. If that doesn't help you, let me know. Hopefully it does. Excuse me. Oh, man. All right. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to recap a little bit for Friday. Recap the markets for you guys. Show you how our trade alerts did. I didn't even really look yet. We'll see how they... Cool. If you have any more questions, just let me know, Chris. I'll do my best to help you out. So as you guys see here, right? This is the futures ES over here. These are, you'll see, a bunch of lines on my screen, right? If you're a newbie here and you don't know how to draw these lines or know what those lines are, these are trend lines and then like horizontal support and resistance. So there's horizontal lines that go across and vertical lines that go like this, right? The reason why why those are important is, again, candlesticks that you see here on the charts are the battle of the bulls and the bears. And that battle, these green candlesticks are bullish, the red ones are bearish. There's always a constant battle back and forth, and that battle forms patterns, right? And now patterns are incredibly important because they show traders very important support and resistance levels. Support and resistance is the most important thing when trading. You want to buy low and sell high if you're going long on a stock, or sell high and buy low to cover if you're going short. So buy at support, sell at resistance if you're going long, or sell at resistance levels, buy at support levels if you're going short, right? So I explain all that because those patterns, again, that show support and resistance levels, then you're able to basically connect trend lines, you know, horizontal trend lines, vertical horizontal support and resistance levels, like going across, and then vertical ones, you know, for your trend lines. And it's so important to be able to learn how to draw these levels because these are going to be the areas where you're going to basically, you know, where to, you know, get a good gauge on where to get in an entry and where to potentially get out. Again, with stocks, you're never going to predict 100%. There's no 100% foolproof way in the stock market. If you could make money 100% of the time in the stock market, then everybody would be rich. The fact of the matter is, It's not realistic. That's why you have to have proper risk management levels and really protect yourself when trading, right? So if you're looking at all these and you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Well, there's a simple answer to that. The simple answer is it doesn't happen overnight, right? That's the first simple answer for you. It takes a lot of time. It takes looking at thousands of charts to get to that point. But the encouraging thing is, again, we have a few $1,000s worth of courses right here that'll help you get started. Take these courses, take the next few months and get comfortable. Practice in our trade rooms each day with a virtual account until you get comfortable. But also over in here under our members only section, under members only videos, you will see that we have about 4 videos here on how to draw trend lines, right? So those right there will help you to be able to draw trend lines like you see on the charts here. So you'll see candlesticks courses, so this will help you to learn the patterns, right? So if you haven't taken our candlestick courses yet, we have a basic one and an advanced one that teaches you the patterns. And then after you're done with those courses, come over here under candlestick patterns, take our how to trade candlesticks pattern video, which explains all the patterns in our first course, and then how to trade reversal candlestick patterns, which explains how to do our second course, right? This will probably take you a month or two to go through, right? Lots of videos in there. And then once you know patterns, then you're going to be able to learn how to draw trend lines, right? When you can draw horizontal and vertical support and resistance levels. So now you're going to be able to learn support and resistance. Once you have these together, right, know candlesticks and trend lines, then you're going to want to know, again, what type of trader you want to become. You know, are you going to be a day trader? Are you going to be a swing trader? Are you going to be an options trader? Take the following course, you know, that coincides with what, you know, trader that you'd like to become. But the whole important thing is to remember is you're not just going to like, you know, we all want to make money in the stock market. You want to jump in, you want to make money each day, right? But the problem is if you don't know support and resistance, trend lines, and all that good stuff, you're not going to make it. All right, you're not going to make it as a trader. You'll get lucky for a while, but the only way to really become successful is knowing support and resistance and patterns and trend lines and putting in the work that it takes to become a successful trader. I wish that there was an easier way or a quicker way around it, but the fact of the matter is that there isn't. So again, this is not going to be a whole technical analysis video, but as I'm looking at this stuff, you know, I will, you know, kind of point some things out to you. I'll show you the markets and, you know, just kind of give you a gauge. I'm actually going to, here's what I'll do for you guys. I'm going to actually remove these drawings right now and show you how I got them, right? So if you're new, you may look at this chart and be like, that's kind of a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I don't understand what this, like, what this chart is, what it means, like what it looks like. But you got to remember, you want to kind of connect the dots, right? Connect the lines, connect peaks and valleys, put them together. Because all these candlesticks tell a very important story. And what happened way back here, you know, in whatever year this was, 2014, 15, can all be affected over here, right? Connecting these lines, you'll see, like, for instance, if you want to connect peaks and valleys and find these patterns, and you'll see what happens over here can affect again in the future. You see how I connected? Look at this. This is perfect. See this area right here? Right here. You'll see price fell down here, the buyers came in. Price fell down over here, buyers came back in. Right over here, buyers came back in. Buyers came back in. Buyers came back in. You guys see this? I just took a line and I connect these lines. What's up, Dan? So you're connecting these lines, right? Trend lines, right? So you see right here, there's a base, right here, right here, right here, right here. This is support, right? Support levels. And so you can see it's riding a trend, a bullish trend, right? So you can kind of then zoom in and start to see it a little bit clearer. You guys see this? This is how you're just drawing trend lines. You're connecting at least 2, ideally 3 or more if you can, levels of support, you know, like these valleys that you see over here, and then peaks as well. You can then go over here and draw some trend lines over here and you can go like maybe from this peak to this peak up here, right? Now sometimes you're going to have a few different peaks, right? You'll see, you know, something like this one. You know, sometimes you have to have a few of them, right? And they're not going to always be exact. So you can draw these channels, right? You know, you can see kind of price has been riding this trend line here. It kind of peaked out over here. You know, got above over in this one over here. Back over here. And then you can see this kind of was trading in this channel really tight for a while. Like over here, you can see buyers came in, rejected off here. Came back down, kind of down here a little bit above. Buyers brought it back in right here. Resistance, came back down, went back up over here, rejected. Then it traded in the middle of this channel right up here. And then it broke out, right? Price broke out. And now you have another peak. You could even connect it back over here. Price came back down. So it resistance, right? Excuse me. Hold on, let me cough a second. Give me 1 second. So price goes all the way up here, rejects, comes back down. Now look, right here, guys. You can see buyers came back in over here, and you can connect it all the way back over here, right? You draw these channels, right? Price then went back, trying to get a little back, goes back up over here, comes back down, rejects down. Goes back up again, comes back down. So now you have strong support levels right here, and you know, you can see buyers have come back up over in here. So you can see there'll be some, obviously, some resistance up in these levels. If it can get back there, I'm trying to zoom in on my charts. Oop, 2,300. Let me go back over here, actually. Let me do this. My brain's spinning right now. So you can see stock market was at all-time highs. So now you can draw peak levels across, right? So you can draw them across like this. You can see right here, there was another couple peaks right over in here, right? And then you can see back over in here, resistance levels, right? It's not being able to break above here. So you can see price now, you know, buyers have come back in here, here, and here. It's still kind of moving up. Now you can see it's trading sideways over here at resistance. If it can break above that 2740 area, now you have 2790s area for resistance. And you have some of this channel up over in here as resistance, and resistance up here, right? Hold on 1 second, I'm just reading your comments. That's funny, Paul. Yeah, Dan is teaching me to become a trendline master. Cool. All right, so always enjoy a good stock market book. I'm not sure what book Paul is talking about. Paul will let you guys know. So again, so you're drawing these trend lines, horizontal and vertical support and resistance lines. So you can kind of see, and then you'll start to zoom in. You'll start to see patterns, right? So you'll see, you know, right here, you can then kind of take your trend line again. So you kind of had these channels, right, going up. Then you can kind of draw the patterns again and connect the dots again, right? The lines right over here to here. You can see there was a peak here. You can zoom in over here. There's a peak here. And then over here it touched, right? So you can see angular momentum, resistance going down, right? And you can see there's these triangles, right? You can see this line coming down and this line going up is a triangle. It was kind of a bearish triangle, and then price broke out over here. So as price broke out now it still has, you know, these resistance levels to break through. You can see this is resistance all within here. And price, you can see right along this area is having a tough time breaking out. But if you zoom in, sometimes you got to zoom into a closer chart. You can then, again, keep drawing your trend lines, and you can see, you know, this is still creating some higher lows right over here. And if you look kind of right here, now you see multiple tests of this area. Hasn't broken above it yet, but higher lows are being formed. This may be forming an ascending triangle. And if it's an ascending triangle, you know, watch for it to potentially break out over that 2740. If price can break out over that 2740, when again, this is resistance. If price breaks out of resistance, many of times price will come back down and retest it, because resistance then becomes support. So if it breaks resistance, you want to see the retest hold. If it retests and then goes up, and then you'll see these other lines, resistance, right? Support and resistance. We can't stress this enough, guys. If you're new, you never buy blindly just because somebody tells you to buy. We're trying to teach you guys how to become traders, how to buy at support, how to sell at resistance, right? Not just buy something and hold it forever, hoping and praying that it's going to go up, because, you know, what goes up eventually will come down at some point. Doesn't mean it'll go back to your entry point, but we're always about teaching people, take your profits, right? If you're up really a lot on your stock, right? You know, like if you're in, I don't know, let's just take an example. Let's pull up Apple or Facebook. I know somebody was talking about Facebook recently. Everybody's talking about Facebook. So let's do, let me go to a daily chart. Let me see you guys talking down here. Fib retracement solution, think pull. Oh, Facebook. Oh, look at this. Patterns, guys. Dang. Woof. Do you guys see this pattern? I didn't even look at this one. Oh, man. Look at this. So, all-time highs, 195.32. Are you guys looking at this? I'm going to show you guys right here. Do you guys see what I just drew? That is an inverse head and shoulders. Neckline up here. It could, again, it's a little bit overextended, but this one may be looking at some point. This is an extremely bullish pattern. Doesn't mean it can't trade sideways for a little while longer. Obviously, it's a bit overextended, but, you know, watch for this at some point. It may be setting up soon or later in the future to potentially break out, right? So find these patterns. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This can pull back, obviously, but you got to find these patterns, right? And you can then go back over here and now zoom out, draw your trend line, take your trend line tool, right? And you could, and you can connect some of these dots right here, right? Lines right here. You know, you can kind of, sometimes they're not always going to be perfect, right? But you can see, connect these peaks, right? Again, you're not going to always get them perfectly. Sometimes they'll be better than others. So then you can find the channel, right? You can see that, you know, buyers came in over here, rejected up here. Traded right in the middle. Buyers came in, back down here, traded up in the middle, rejected up here, traded up kind of sideways up here a little bit. And you can see it's kind of rejecting in these areas up here. Rejecting, and then boom, it couldn't stay up this high too long, fell back down. Now you see here, buyers came back in over here, you know, scared everybody out. I think that was when Zuckerberg may have been talking. I'm not sure. I don't remember when his meeting was, but maybe it was around there, or maybe even around this area. As you can see, they came back in and bought here. So I want to show you something though. So buy at support levels and you want to sell at resistance, right? So you want to be very careful. What a lot of newbies will do is they buy up in here and then they get trapped, right? They buy at resistance and then it goes against them and it falls back down, right? Because, you know, traders, they aren't stupid. They buy at support, right? They buy at these levels and then they sell at these levels, right? They buy at these levels, sell up here, right? You know, up here, big traders are not buying necessarily up here. They're waiting for it to fall and then form a pattern, you know, buy down here. You can see these trend lines, right? Buying down here, buying down here, buying down here. Now, you got to be careful. This is where it gets a little bit iffier. You obviously want to buy ideally closer to moving average lines. You have to be careful when it gets near resistance. At some point, this thing might want to break out. I mean, it's showing a very bullish pattern. But just buying, let's say, a straight call on Facebook right now when it's overextended could be very risky because you're buying at resistance. Doesn't mean it can't go out. This could break out on Monday or Tuesday, or it could crash down and go like this for, it could go like this for a while and continue the left shoulder, right? But very important, if price breaks above that 195, you want to see it continue to hold. So you guys see where I'm showing you guys there, these trend lines and how you draw these, and then you got to be careful and then find these patterns. Again, very bullish. This is a beautiful pattern. This is where you start to look at maybe you're doing spreads. Maybe you're not just doing a straight call, right? Maybe you look at a spread option, trading options. Again, make sure you take our options course and our Dan also, or Dan or Tim, I think Tim maybe. We have ones on spreads right over in here, right? So we're going to do some more videos for you guys on that. Just want to show you guys here again, just kind of what you're looking at, what the markets, you can see, you got to be able to draw these trend lines, horizontal and vertical support and resistance levels, see what the market is doing overall. And then you can see right here, this is kind of a channel, right? It's just trading in a channel, but then you got to zoom in and find these patterns, right? Inverse head and shoulders. And then you can also then zoom in, zoom in even more. And you can see, okay, well, this is a double bottom, right? You wanted to see price break out above this level. So you can see, again, inverse head and shoulders, but then you zoom in down over here and you can see, okay, here was a bottom here, watch for price to break out over here, which it did. And then you can kind of then zoom in further and start to see, okay, what's price doing here? It's riding that 9 moving average line, which is a nice bullish sign. And you can see there really was no close below the 9 EMA yet. So if you get a good entry near the 9, you could kind of ride this up. So it's a little riskier to buy out here when it's overextended. Doesn't mean it can't break out, but ideally you want to get in near these moving average lines, right? So, but newbies, this is where they get trapped. So at this point, I look at this and I'm like, oh, that's a beautiful looking pattern. It may break out any moment, but it could also reject, come back down and do this for a little while, for who knows how long, until then it eventually breaks out. But if you bought, let's say, a straight call on it, and you bought a call Monday at it right here at 195 bucks, and it doesn't break out like you want it to go, then what if this thing pulls back to 184 or 185 right down here, and you're losing 10 bucks a contract, 10 bucks on your contract, times 100 shares, you're freaking out. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what the contract is, you can lose a lot of, your time value on your option if you're just waiting for it to break out, hoping and praying without looking at what's happening intraday when the stock break, come Monday or Tuesday or whatever, if you want to see it break this level here and hold. But also remember, if you look at a monthly chart, it's at all-time highs, right? So just because it breaks out, you don't necessarily know how high it's going to go. But what you do know is that if it does break over 195, you want to see that hold, right? You don't want to see it break above and then fail. That's why we tell people, again, take your profits along the way. If you, buy down in these levels and you're up $10 and it starts to reject and fall, maybe consider taking your profits, wait for it to come back, buy its support again before it goes, right? So if you're down, again, down here, if you bought at 160, you don't know, is Facebook going to go up forever or is it going to pull back? Like maybe it comes back down to here again. So for instance, right here, let's say if you bought at 160 and now you're up at 190, up in these areas here, 187 or 88, you're up 27 bucks a share. Maybe consider taking profits, wait for it to fall back, reload again, and watch, when a price gets overextended, don't give back necessarily all your profits. You could always find re-entries again. Because again, we don't know if Facebook another, whatever, 6 months or a year, it could end up falling back down here again before it continues up, right? So be careful and not just give back all your profits. That's what we're trying to say. All right, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, good point, Paul. Yeah, I mean, news, earnings, all that stuff affects price movement, obviously, for sure. Again, straight calls, straight puts, it's definitely more gambling. You know, we're huge proponents of spreads, but you also have to have a certain minimum in your accounts for doing spreads as well. So, you know, that's where, you know, again, we have our courses. Make sure you take our options course, you know, take our, you know, watch our spreads videos. We're going to do some more on that as well for you guys in the near future. So this is kind of, just want to kind of show you guys this. These are the things you want to look at, right? And if you're new and you're watching this and you're like, again, just can't stress it over and over. If you're like, his charts look like this is all foreign to me. I don't know what he's doing. Those patterns make no sense. Those lines make no sense. But you're trading with real money right now. Then, again, I say this over and over, and I'll just say it over and over again and put the fear into you. Do not trade with real money if this doesn't make sense, right? Why would you do that, right? Why would you trade with real money in your account if you don't know this? Because this is everything. Support, resistance, patterns. This is the entire name of the game when trading. So, you know, if you don't know patterns, support, and resistance, this is how newbies get trapped and they lose their money because they listen to, you know, a stock pumping service or a trade alert service or another trading room, you know, and they're just buying blindly because somebody else is talking about it. Again, when we have our trade alerts and we put them out, they're not buy signals, right? When you see our trade alerts over here and they go off, they're not saying buy. They're saying, okay, a stock breaks above a certain level. Now zoom in intraday, see, you know, chart your lines, you know, do your support and resistance levels, see if it's a, you know, a trade that you want to potentially take, right? Because there's so much that goes into this. This is just a daily chart, but then you can zoom into an hourly, right? Look at the hourly, watch what the stock is doing, and then you can go intraday, you know, 5-minute levels, 1-minute levels, right? Yeah, sorry, my nose is itchy. Chris, good video on members about fib retracements. Yeah, that might be the one Dan did. Right up over. Where is it? We did one for Dan's. I don't. Oh, this is the one. Maybe Dan did on fib retracements, right? Dan's the man. Excuse me, on fib levels and all that good stuff. So, again, so you guys, we have all our courses, and then we have all this private content for members as well. Watch these videos. Is there a lot of videos? Yes. But, you know, trading, it takes a long time. You're not going to get it in your first few months, right? You know, or you may, and if, you know, it takes some time. The more effort that you're wanting to put in, the more you'll succeed. But it's like it's an education, right? Or if you're starting your own business. If you're starting your own business, you don't expect to make money your first week or even your first month or sometimes maybe even your first year, right? You got to put the time, the effort, the studying in. With college, you know, there's 4 and 8-year degrees, right? You're not going to get your 4-year degree in 6 months, right? You got to spend the time to really, really study and invest into your education. And trading is an education that you have to really invest into. So let me pull up a few of the alerts. I have not even looked at any of these yet, so we'll see what they did. Maybe they were good, maybe they were bad. So we'll take a look at them and see what they did. ONDK. ONDK. So we had an alert for, let me remove these drawings. at or above 664. Prices in the gap could go either way. Watch for potential short or long. At or above 664. We'll go back over here and we'll put a line right here, 664. So what I had said was that it's in the gap right here. There's a gap right in this area over here. Let's zoom in right over here. You can see prices in this daily gap. Gaps cause volatility, right? So they say all gaps must be filled, but again, it's a matter of when. This is a big gap. This can take a while, right? So you can see right over in here, we tell people, you know, you can trade the 5 minute. If you're day trading, you could do a 5 minute trade, or, you know, use the 5 minute charts or the 1 minute charts. We ideally like to teach, use the 5 minute to catch the right pattern intraday, and then find your entries on a 1 minute. And then you decide again when you're going to take profits. You can take your profits using a 5 minute chart, letting the patterns form, or take your profits using a 1 minute if you're scalping. There's not really a right or a wrong way to do it. It's a matter of your preference. But we always try to teach people, take your profits, don't get too greedy. Will you sell too early? Many of times. Even though I'm not trading yet, it is so addictive watching and learning charts. Frank, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's so important to to really just, you can't look, honestly, that's why I make these videos longer. I'm just kind of just talking, showing you guys. I could make this video 10 minutes long, right? But I'm just want to show you guys this over and over and over, because you can't look at enough charts. And when you think you know charts, you still don't know charts, right? You'll always be learning. And, you know, this is not like a, again, this is a lifetime skill. If you learn this, so you can learn this for life, right? You can learn how to trade. You could also learn how to manage your own 401k and learning how to invest long-term. Charts, patterns, and graphs, right? Support, resistance. This is a skill. It's a lifelong skill. And that's where, again, just study this stuff, right? Over and over and over again. So all that to say, ONDK. It really broke right above on a 5 minute, right when it opened the day. So how would you have traded this one? On the 5 minute, it would have been very difficult, because you'll see high of day. Let me go over here. So it went up 19 cents, right? So if you're a 5 minute trader, you really wouldn't have had a play on this, right? You would have missed it. You could have gotten in at the break above this candle using a close below this as your stop, but that would have, it just wasn't good, right? Not a good trade. If we go to the 1 minute chart, let's see if there's anything here. The 1 minute, you can see he had the 2 candlesticks up, one little pullback here, and then it kind of like went up. This is not a really, I wouldn't have traded this. You could have gotten really quick on a hotkey on this 5 minute, or on this 1 minute pullback, 676 to 683. Nothing really. It just not a good trade, right? So it went up, but this is why we tell people, just because an alert goes off doesn't mean you should trade it. So it went up almost 20 cents, great, but, you know, you would have had to have been really quick. Some people will take this really quickly, getting in a break above a 1 minute candle and make their 10, 20 cents, whatever, and get out. We don't advocate. This is just kind of a messy looking chart. So, you know, it went up, but I wouldn't necessarily traded it. I put my chart of NKE in the swing options room. I think it could be a flat top breakout. Let's take a look. You guys see how I'm making these trend lines, right? Connecting these peaks and these valleys up here. Paul, where do you mean flat top breakout? Let me see. I guess, yeah, maybe. Let me zoom in here. You can see kind of your top right over here. Right? Here's some of the peaks over here. I see kind of what you're talking about, potentially. So you're drawing your trend lines, and then he's probably connecting right over here. Let me see. Maybe this as well. Kind of connect over there or back over here. So you might be, Paul, are you referring to this right here, a potential flat top break? Potentially. At the daily. Let me say. It's possible. So I connected it. That's on the hourly. It looks a little bit messy, right? So then if I was going to a daily, I can go back over here, connect like this, right? Yeah, see how it becomes a little bit cleaner? So this is a rising wedge pattern. I'd be careful. Again, some resistance right up over in here, right at the top of that channel. So you got some resistance right around that 73.50 marker. It's got to get above. Not saying it won't, but you know, be careful of the resistance right over in here, and watch for it over here. All right. Let me go and check in the options room. See this, guys? We open our rooms. Our rooms are open 24 hours, right? So you're able to go in here and take a look. Paul, do you want to place? You want to put your chart up in the in the options room again, or swing room? Is this you right here? Oh, okay. Woo! This is like a Dan chart. My goodness. Yeehaw. Wow, my head is spinning right now looking at this one. Beautiful. So are you looking for it to go right up to that a little bit above $74? Dang. That's a beautiful chart. So are you looking for it to go up to this green line up here, right above that 73.50, right above $74? Yeah, after a pullback? Okay. Let me look at that. Yeah, it's possible, right? I mean, gotta watch these levels, right? Again, if you're new, guys, you don't just buy something to buy it. Just being aware of these support and resistance levels. It may go and break out. It's something to keep an eye on. It's getting near resistance, so keep an eye on it. Yep, needs some volume. How do you configure the trend line? My configuration, I need to select 2 points in 2 places. So on mine, I just go with Think or Swim. I have my line like this, and I draw it. So if you look at it, it's already extending back and forth, because if I right-click on it and click Properties, I have left extension on and right extension on. So then that way I can just kind of click on it, and I can just move it up and down, right? See, it extends. It's because I have my extensions off or on and off, or on both left to right. Dan is the man. Dan is definitely way better than me at technical analysis. I'm more on the basics, the lines, horizontal, angular. He's really good with all. I mean, his charts make my head spin. Paul, your heads were starting to make my head spin. So let's take a look at a couple other ones. CNAT, see how that did. At or above 430. So CNAT, if you go to the alerts, price is broaching base of gap. Watch it if it'll go into the gap starting around 445. I put at above 430. So go back to here. So let me zoom in. I had at or above 430 right here, right? So what did I say? I said price is broaching the base of the gap. Watch it if it'll go into the gap starting around 445. So here was my line, 430. Said watch if it'll go into the gap at 445, right? Price went into the gap. Why did it pull back right at this level here? No coincidence. Zoom in. The black line is the 200 SMA. So price is in the gap, which is going to be volatile. 200 SMA is going to be resistance. And then you also have the gap up here. So they say all gaps must be filled, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. It can happen this week, next month, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now, right? Especially with these small caps, you don't know. So trading this one, if you zoom in on it, if I had a 5 minute, so how would you have traded this one? CNAT, it's a bit challenging, right? If you're playing patterns or trading patterns, which we like to teach, this is a bit difficult. You could have waited to maybe it bounced right over. So you can see it broke out, had this high wave candle, came on the 5 minute, came down, tested support, or is that 444 marker, which is the base of the gap. So you could have, what is that, 454 down to 441. You could have, if you wanted, risked getting in at the break of this 5 minute candle using a close below this as your stop. But again, it's very, I wouldn't have suggested trading this one. These high wave candles get a bit risky, but if you did, you could have gotten in at the break of that 5 minute candle here at 454 using a close below this as your stop. And then you can see this is your warning, this doji candle up here, and then obviously it went up right to that 200 SMA resistance, right? So you could have used, this was your high of day. These high wave candles get a bit messy, but if you saw right here, volume kind of came in a little bit down over here. You could have gotten in at the break of this candle, and in anticipation of a break of a high a day as it's in the gap. Again, a bit messy. So it did go up. That was a nice, it moved nicely. If you're trading the 5 minute, right? Let's take a look at the 1 minute if it would have been any better. So this is where, if you look at this, the 1 minute was a complete mess. So if you were trading a 1 minute chart on this, I looked at it and I would have just been like, it would have just been so just risky and messy. Maybe at a break, it's just this is a mess, right? So this is where sometimes you got to switch between charts. This you would have maybe said, nah, I'm not going to trade this. And I still wouldn't have, even, see again, the 1 minute's very risky. Just kind of not really much to look at. But you could have looked at over here. Again, this is still a messy candle. I still wouldn't have advocated trading it, but you could have if it got in a break above this candle here, using a close below that as your stop, and then take profits along the way. Again, don't really like it. So it went up, went really well, but just wasn't really great. It would have been some risk. Let's take a look at IPAS. Let's see if that did anything. So IPAS, I put a penny stock, a cheap one on there for you guys. At or above 44 cents. Watch if price will jump over 50 with the next resistance around 61 cents. And didn't do anything. Cheap garbage penny stock. Didn't do anything. I was looking at it, kind of a left shoulder head, right shoulder, potential inverse head and shoulders. Wanted to see if it was going to get a pop. Did nothing. Garbage. So scratch that one. BOXL at or above 748. BOXL at or above 748. And what did this one do? So this one I had at or above 748. Watch if price can get over the 200 SMA on the 1 hour with resistance at 795. So at or above 740. Did I say 748? Yep. So let's put a line at 740. There we go. Said watch if it can get above the 2. So just showing you guys these notes, right? Want you guys really to pay attention to these, right? BOXL at or above 748. Watch if price can get over the 200 SMA on the 1 hour with resistance at 795. Or 748. 748 right here. It did pop up. 795 is up here. It got up to 775 and dumped. Right? Garbage. Did nothing, popped up, went down. Right? That's why you don't trade something just because the alert goes off. This is a garbage play. So far, CNAT was the only potential one. Let's take a look at these last two. Jill, Jill. So Jill, at or above 784. A bit overextended, but watch for potential continuation with resistance at 8 and 9. So I put at or above 784, which was right here. So at or above 784, this line right here, watch for continuation. And so this one went up to 836. So that moved up pretty decent. Now we got to go and see if you could have traded it. So at or above 784. If you were looking at the 5-minute, I still don't really like the pattern, right? You had high of day right over here at 836. So of high of day, let me see, did it go above that at all? So if you were just looking at the 5-minute, again, it went up really well. It got overextended. But if you would have probably then, so 5-minute, let me just look at it again. I don't know if I like anything on a 5-minute. 5-minute, don't really like it. You maybe could have gotten in a break of this first candle, 818 down to, it's still too high of risk. I don't like the risk management. Maybe down, let me just go to the 1-minute real quick. See if the 1-minute's any better. Okay. So the 1-minute, you know, this is where you got to decide, do you want to get in then on, let me see, what is this candlestick right here? 797 down to 790. So it's about a 7-minute candle or 7-cent candle. So you saw this one right here. You could have potentially gotten in at the break above this 798 for a break above $8 using your first close below the 9 EMA as your target to get out. So if you're doing a 1-minute and you saw this candle, what is that? 797, even below here, you're looking at, again, 10, 12 cent stop. We like those tight looking stops, right? Lower your risk, you know? Don't buy way out here. Buy closest to the moving average lines as possible. So if you took a trade on this one above 798, the first candle close below the 9 would have been right here, 826. So 798 to 826, that's 26, that's 28 cents. So using Dan's strategy that he teaches over here under our members only section, if you look at this video right here, oh, I already clicked on it. So Dan's momentum trading strategies for beginners video. This one right here is going to teach you guys this ride the 9 strategy. And so this is one you could have potentially taken a trade on, gotten in again right at the break of this 1 minute candle here, using this candlestick as your out, and that's 28 cents. Now again, many people, if you got in over here at 7.98 and it goes up to 8.19, you're probably going to start taking profits up in here, then look for your entry. And if you look right over here, you'll see that there was kind of there's kind of this bull pennant formed. So if you missed this entry over here, you could have probably gotten in over here at about 8.19, but then you would have only, it's still not too bad. You can see these double tops right over the tweezer tops on the 1 minute. So if you got in right on this candle, if you missed back here, you saw this pennant forming, you could have gotten in right at the break above here, right on the 8.18. And then when you saw those two tweezer tops, 18, that's still an 18-cent move. Even if you waited for a close, let's see over here, 8.18, and you just waited for this close right here, 25, you still made 7 cents. So if you still waited, you got in at the break and waited over here, you made 7 cents. Okay. These tweezer tops would have been warning. So you guys see here, there was a pattern on the 1 minute. You know, right here, if you were to really trade it properly, right over here, or if you took maybe some risk back here at an early entry, you could have traded it, whereas the 5 minute was just, yeah, it wasn't great. Really wasn't a great setup. So that's where you got to determine. Some days you're going to do better at trading a 5 minute setup. You know, other days taking the 1 minute. You know, ideally you're looking for a good breakout on a daily using a 5 minute chart pattern with a good setup, getting your entry on a 1 minute. That's ideally your best strategy, right? So wait for the best setups is super important. Awesome, Paul. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up here in a couple minutes, Matthew. I'm just kind of no rhyme or reason, just kind of talking to you guys here. VKTX. This is the one I think was this what Chris was talking about. At or above. So now, as you can see, this is typical of the watch list, right? You'll get 1 or 2 pretty decent ones, and some ones that are like, right? Jill. That was a decent move. If you can make 28 cents or so, 28 cents on a day trade, that's fantastic, right? 50 cents or $1, yeah, of course everybody wants that, but that's not realistic every day, right? You got to be patient, wait for trade ideas. That's why we show every day. We send out our watch list every day, but also each morning we post our trade ideas live screen sharing links. So, you know, again, typically in a watch list, if we have 10 stocks, 1 or 2 will be good. 1 or 2 will be okay, and the rest will be like nothing, doesn't do anything, you know, kind of stop out, that kind of deal, right? But that's why we have trade ideas that picks up all of the big movers. So trade ideas is a $120 a month scanner. It's the best one in the industry. We love it. Again, if you can't afford it, don't buy it right now. Use ours until you can afford it. So going back to VKTX, I put at or above 9.99. Let's see what that one did. VKTX. So this one, these are the ones when they have a big green day like this. Many of times they'll get a continuation day, but this gets a little bit messy, right? So I put a, what did I put? At or above 9.99. Right here. Where is it? So, at or above 9.99 previous close, right? And it got up to 11.17, right? So, what happened? It went up. It went up so quickly, but look, pre-market high was this 1118, right? When the market opened, so this is the high at pre-market high. When it opened, this 5-minute candle did a long-legged doji candle. It went up, it retested, and then slammed back down. It rejected the pre-market high, and then you could have shorted this, right? So it did go up. If you were trading this 5-minute pattern, there would have been no long on this. It would have just, see ya, timber went down. If you went on the 1 minute, there's really no way to trade this one. I mean, you would have had to been, you couldn't do it. It just, you would, this is a 1109 down to 1066. All right, you just can't trade that. Terrible risk management. So it went up, but what did it do? Nothing. So guys, that's why we tell you guys, again, these alerts, you'll see, you know, Jill was good, CNET, so one decent one, but also remember too, it was a Friday, right? Fridays are typically not as good as well. So typically Monday to Thursdays are the best. Again, these were just the ones from our day trade watch list. Was it a VX? Are you talking VKTX or VXTX? If you're referring to Thursday on VKTX was great. I don't know if that's what you're talking about on Thursday. Friday was crap, but Thursday, now that's a different story, right? Thursday, these are the stock. This is what Trade Ideas picks up, guys. So this is where a stock like this will be doing nothing, looks crappy. So pretend you don't even see this green candle here. If I was building the watch list Wednesday night, I wouldn't have even have looked, pretend again, these two candlesticks don't exist. Oops, I'm making a bunch of noise. I would have never had VKTX on my watch list, right? Because I don't like this pattern. Now maybe you could see it here, but I wouldn't have looked at it. It just was doing nothing, right? Trade in. Maybe you could have said a cup and handle, but I didn't like it because you could see this candle is bearish, right? But Trade Ideas, I'm sure, picked up this one right here. I wasn't in the trade room Thursday. I think Dan was. So right here, this is what's picked up by Trade Ideas. So now you go over to, or it's Friday. Friday was that one. Here is Thursday, right? So you can see the high of this candle. Actually, just make it back over here, right? So you can put the high up over here, right? And then you can see Thursday pre-market, this thing was ripping pre-market, right? You can see pre-market high right up over here. So pre-market, it gapped up above this area here. Pre-market highs over here. And then, so what did it do at market open? At market open, you'll see, didn't do nothing until you can see this cup handle right here, and then boom, it breaks out. So now, if you had waited for this to break above pre-market highs, so you could have done a couple things. You could have waited for it to break above the basically the cup. Kind of, it's almost a bigger, trying to zoom in, let me go. You know, you could have watched this and you could have gotten in maybe on this handle pullback right over here and said, okay, I'm going to get in on an entry, and right over, you can kind of see, let me zoom in here. See it kind of pulling back right over here. All right. So you can see this cup and that handle. So you could have, if you wanted, right here, gotten in on maybe this candle right over here as it's breaking above the handle in anticipation of a break of the pre-market high. So you're buying closer to support. Or you could have waited for it to break out, and then you can see it closed on 1 minute candle over here, and then got it in, what is this, 37.34. So now your risk is getting a little bit bigger here, because now you could have waited till it broke above this candle right up here, and used a close below this candle, so 735 down to 732, now you're looking at about 33 cents. So you have a 33-cent candle as your risk management if you were using a close below this as your stop, compared to this candle, which is 711 down to 696. That's about a 15-cent. So the difference between this handle, getting in on this breakout on the handle, compared to getting in on a break here, is about double your risk. So you could have waited, watched for it to pull back. So again, now it starts to rip, right? So you could have gotten in at the break of this handle, or this one right here. Again, you could get in the break here. If it rejects the top over here, you could, you know, say I'm getting out. So people were probably looking at this handle, got in the break over here, and then you could have just rode this until you got a candle, your first candle close below the 9. Technically, it was like right over either this candle close or right over in here. So, you know, what is that? 711 up to 865. That's a what? A $1.50 or so move, right? So obviously, you still, you know, you're probably gonna, like, you know, take your profits. So this is where, again, we all want to hold forever and make the huge run, but you know, you're probably gonna take your profits out here, right? You know, but you have the luxury, if you got in over here, to wait until you start getting a close below the 9 because you have a good entry. If you missed this entry on the cup and handle, and obviously it's starting to rip out here, and you can see it's kind of like getting all crazy out here, then you could have waited and watched for, let's see here, you're drawing your trend line from kind of like maybe back here. You guys see how there's like that pennant pattern being formed right here? You could have waited for it to consolidate back to the moving average lines and wait for it to potentially break out of this pennant again, which is maybe, you know, right in here, which is at 837. You would have probably got shook out maybe right there, 865. That's still a 28-cent move. All right, so you still could have made money. So this is why we tell people it's so important to get the proper entries. You know, Dan stresses it all the time. Buy as close to the 9 as possible. But if you're a newbie, you don't ever buy out in these areas. You don't buy out in these areas. You don't buy out in these areas, right? This is buying at resistance, not at support, right? So you buy at these levels, or right in here, or also maybe as this is pulling back, maybe right in here as well, and selling, right? Again, if you're day trading, you're trying to scalp, you know, again, even if you missed it over in here, you know, as it's kind of, you can kind of see right here, as it's starting, man, my head is, as it starts to break out over here again, you may have had one last chance, but you got to be careful. You see a pullback here, there's one, two pullbacks. Be careful on that third pullback, because then you're looking at the sell-off, which it did, right? You still could have made one more quick scalp on it, maybe right around here, 879. You know, you see this candle right here saying warning, warning, 879, still to 917. You still would have, that's still a great move. So you could have traded this probably about 3 times. Your safest would have been here and maybe here, and then be careful after the third one. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. So, wow, this is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Hopefully, it helped you guys for technical analysis. And, yeah. Guys, if you're new and you've been hanging out watching us, you'll see on our YouTube channel, obviously subscribe. Make sure you click the notification bell, because this is going to let you know whenever we go live. You're going to see we do our watch list live for the following day, usually a few times a week, almost every day, maybe 4 times a week. Then we do our trade room live, which is going over obviously what's on our watch list, what is going over on trade ideas. So if you watch our watch list at night, seeing how we build it, then you can see how we potentially trade them in the morning if something's moving, right? And then a couple times a week or so, I might do a live recap video like this, kind of showing what happened. So you can kind of see some recaps of our watch list. So you'll see many different live videos, live streams, where we're just constantly showing you guys support and resistance over and over and over to really drill this in your head, because support and resistance is really the most important thing when trading, right? It's all about support and resistance. Well, again, if you haven't been over to our website, link is below. We are the Bullish Bears. We have a day trading room, a swing trading room, a futures trading room. So there's all action going on there all the time. Again, you can go into those rooms now, and there's, you know, not as many people as when the market's open, but people are talking throughout the day. We do have our community on Facebook right over here, where you could, you know, talk to people on social media. We have a very large community. We're almost got 30,000 people. So some people love social media. This is a great place to talk to people, ask them questions. But then some people don't like social media, and they talk throughout the day. Like, we don't shut our trade rooms down. So today, tomorrow, next week, 24 hours a day, Christmas, Easter, doesn't matter. People might be in there talking. So it's a great place to learn and talk to people. And we got our trade alerts over here. Make sure you read about our trade alerts. As I showed you in this video, right? Just because those alerts go off doesn't mean you trade them. There was a couple that were decent, but the rest were just, they fired off, but nothing really much happened. You know, that's typical. And then we do our watch list each night here. So we email them each night, but we also post right here on our website. If you want a bigger picture, make sure you bookmark that link right here on our website. And we have our courses, which are, I thought I lost you guys. We have a few $1,000s worth of courses over here to take. Again, our 2 candlestick courses really go over the patterns for you guys. And then you'll see under our members only video section, we have teach you guys how to do trend lines and all of that good stuff. And then obviously we have all of these courses right here for free for you as well. So we have thousands of courses, all our trade rooms, our trade alerts. Again, most companies for what we offer charge anywhere from $150 to $300 a month if you're looking at options and alerts and all that stuff as well. And if you can see here, we are only $10 a month. There is no catch. That's what we're charging. Someday we may charge more. For those that are paying $10 a month, don't worry, you'll get it for $10 a month. We'll grandfather you in. We're not planning on upping our rates. We would like to keep it this way. Everything's going great and growing wonderfully, but someday we may charge more. Awesome to hear, Frank. Thank you. Brian, thanks, Brian. You rock. Awesome. You guys are the best. Yeah. Chris, you make me want to go on a whole rant. I've already talked a lot. SDAT, Chris. Yeah, we don't pump stocks. We'll leave it at that, right? Nah, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, so point being, guys, there are trade rooms out there that, you know, again, use their members to pump up stocks, right? So an example would be, you know, if me and Dan or Tim have, you know, money, whatever size brokerage account we have, right? The easiest thing that we can do each night is take our, you know, go to our watch list over here, and let's just say we were in Cron, right? Let's say we got an entry on Cron at the end of the day on Friday, right? We put it on the watch list, Cron, for you guys, and now come Monday morning, we start pumping up Cron. We already have our position, and we have a very large community. We've only been doing this now 4 months, being a paid model, and we already have a bunch of people join us, you know. So as we continue to grow, you know, we could be in Cron, pump up Cron at the market open, right? And then you guys all come chasing us on Cron, and you know, let's say again, there's always a delay on trades, right? So we could tell you we're in Cron. You guys take anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds or a minute to get in the trade. Meanwhile, as you guys are getting in the trade, we're dumping Cron, right? So we scalp our 10, 15, 20 cents. You guys are chasing us in on the trade. So by the time you get in the trade, we're now calling out the trade saying we sold, and now you guys are chasing us out of it, right? So meanwhile, I use the term brokerage account hero, right? I like that. I thought about it. We're not trying to be brokerage account heroes. You're not seeing us with thumbnails all over YouTube, with, you know, us smiling in front of our cameras. Hey, I made, you know, $5,000 today or $10,000 today. You know, look at me in my Maserati, my jet, all of that. Like, we're not, that's, you know, some people like that and good for them. That's not who we're about. If we ever get that way, make sure you guys slap us, because that, yeah, so you guys have permission and free reign to slap us. If we ever start doing stupid stuff like that, feel free to call us out on it. But anyways, no hate to, we get a kick, actually. You know, the other people that do that stuff, I like watching that stuff. I think it's funny. I watch their videos. You know, I watch people that put their thumbnails up and, hey, look at me, look at my Maserati, look at me and my yacht and my jet and my boats and my cash. I get a kick out of them. We have no hate on them. We think it's funny, right? So if we ever start doing stupid stuff like that, just please, you get free reign to just call us out. Oh, man. Thank you, Chris. So we have replays. So we've been posting. If you guys miss us live, go back and watch the replays. We've been putting them on YouTube. Who knows how long we'll do it for. Maybe we'll switch these for make them private for members only at some point. But right now we just have free reign. You can go back and watch what we've done and see how it goes. Oh, did he, wait, Brian, did he lose 16,000 on Friday? Oh, if that's, I'm not referring to that person per se, because we have no hate, but personally, I like him. I think he's great. He's one of the best traders that's out there. But did he lose 16,000 on a trade? Oh, man. First of all, our brokerage accounts aren't the same size as his. But yeah, we love Ross, Tim Sykes, Cameron Foose, Dakmar. They're all awesome. Great traders, great people. Everybody's got a different style. Again, we're not trying to be like them. Hold on, my mouse just messed up a little bit. Oh no, did I just what the hell happened? Are you guys still there? Hold on a second. Am I still on? Sorry guys, I have one of these mouses that go back and forth. Can you guys still hear me right now real quick? I hit one of the side keys on my mouse. Can you still hear me? I'm going to end in a second, but I think I'm still live. $16,000, huh? Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. Those guys are great. Guys, like I said, we're not trying to compete with them. But $16,000, right? Dang. Oh, I'll screw up. I mean, cool. Yeah, I mean, hey, if we grow our group someday and we have thousands of people and we throw 50 or 100 grand in a brokerage account and making tens of thousands a month in memberships, you know, maybe we can lose 5 or 10 grand a day. It's not a big deal. Oh man, guys. So yeah, so that's who we are. That's what we're about. Those guys are great though. I love Tim Sykes. I think he's hilarious. Cameron Foose, he's freaking hilarious. Ross, amazing trader. Dekmar is a great trader as well. That's why I tell people, we're $10 a month. Either one, join those guys and go be with them. 2, join us. Or 3, pay us and pay them. We're only $10. So if you want to be with Ross or Dekmar or Foose or Sykes and use us, that's fine. We got to have a Best Buy Best Buy. I always call it Bullish Bears. Every time I see BB, I think of Best Buy. Yeah, our plan, if everything keeps going according to how things are now, is eventually we will we're going to probably do some Bullish Bears conventions. So that's my vision, is to do conventions, maybe where we do like a 3-day weekend thing, kind of maybe trade the markets on Friday, live together, dinner at night, all that kind of stuff. And then bring vendors in, trade ideas, Market Club, Benzinga, those guys. Teach you guys trading, make it fun, laid back, throw some music, all that kind of good stuff, right? Kind of a combination between trading, motivational, all that good stuff. So, yeah, our plans to do that maybe in a couple of years as we continue to grow. So, all right, guys. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. And we will see you guys on Monday. Enjoy.